All right, Frank.
Okay.
There you go.
I was fortunate enough to go to the Brett Favre number retirement. It's a game, a Thanksgiving game against the Bears, and Bart Starr was there. He was going to be there also. And it was a rainy, cold, rainy night. It was a night game, I think 7:20. Anyways, I got there early like I always did with a good friend of mine. And we're standing there, caught a few balls off the net. And where I stand to catch footballs off the net, there's a gate that opens up. And I help the security guard keep an eye on people so that they come on the field with a pass in case he isn't available. So I kind of stand there and watch and help. Well, an older gentleman was leaving because it was raining. He was leaving early. And he came up to the gate and asked me something that I had never been asked before. He goes, do I have to turn this field game, this pass, to get on the field? Do I have to turn that in? Instantly, the angel on my left side said, no, sir, you don't. You just keep it. The devil on my right side said, no, you have to turn it in. And I'm glad I did. I told him, no, you've got to turn that in. So he gave it to me. And he left, and he was very happy. He was going to be dry. So I turned to my good friend, Dave Moyer. I go to Dave, do you want to go on the field? And he goes, oh my gosh, can I? I'd love to. He had never been on. So I said, here you go. And he looks at me like stunned. So I go, you go and use the field pass. And he showed it to the security guard. He got on the field. And he enjoyed it tremendously. But he came off, and there's still probably 10 minutes of good time to be on the field. So I said, you're done? He said, yeah. So I took the pass. I said, I'm going to go out there for the last few minutes. So I got on the field, walked around over by about where on the Packers sideline by the replay booth. And I was standing there, and I thought, I suppose it's time. I better get going. And a lady that worked for the Packers, you could tell in the way she was dressed, said, all right, all ambassadors line up against the wall being the Lambeau Leap wall. And I looked around, and I thought to myself, So I backed up against the wall, and there was about 40 of us. And she started at the other end and checking everybody's pass to make sure they were supposed to be an ambassador. And at the time, I really didn't know for sure what an ambassador was. I think I knew, but I didn't know for sure. But she's checking them, and I talked to the lady next to me, and I said, what does your pass look like? And she showed me, and it had a little bit of like a circle with an A in there, like I call it a rummage sale sticker. And mine didn't have that on it, but it had some residue, like when you take a sticker off, it's got a little residue on there. So, okay, so the lady's coming from the Packers, checking, gets to me, and it's raining. It's a cold, rainy night. And I said, I think my A fell off. She goes, oh, no problem. Follow me. So I'm going around behind the goalpost where I stand, and I go to my good friend Dave. I said, Dave, go to our seats. I'm an ambassador. So we go down, enter in the Packers tunnel.
And there's 40 of you about, right?
There's 40 of us.
All right.
And we get in there, and she goes, find a gold coat to put on. And hindsight, I was dressed to be outside. And come to find out, most of these people that were ambassadors were in suites, so they weren't going to be outside. But I always put my jersey on the outside so people can see it, and then I wear a see-through raincoat so they can see my jersey. My jersey on the outside, I'm all decked out and inside with the warm clothes. So I should have taken some of that stuff off, but I didn't. I found a gold coat, and I got it on. I felt like Ralphie in the Christmas Story. I just couldn't move his arm. But I got it on and formed two lines. Okay, we formed two lines, 20 on each side. And when we formed these lines, we're inside the Packer, inside Lambeau Field. And I heard a golf cart. And I look, here it is. It's Bart Starr, Cherry Starr, and his son Bart in this golf cart. And I go, oh my God, it's Bart Starr. He is my hero my whole life. I yell, hello Bart, how you doing? And he had a little bit of physical problems, and he kind of waved a little bit, and they drove on. I wanted to run over and give him a big hug, but I thought if I did do that, I would get thrown out of the stadium. So I
No
did.
more ambassadoring for you.
That's right, I'm out. So I was very happy to see Bart. So the lady in charge said, all right, follow me. We went to the entrance of the tunnel, and there's 2 honorary captains from the alumni from the Packers. And it was Marco Rivera and Frankie Bag of Donuts winners. And so I was probably in the middle of the line, but I went up and I shook hands with Marco Rivera, and I shook hands with Frankie Winters. And I said, thanks for coming, you guys. We really appreciate the alumni coming back. Went back to my spot. All of a sudden the lady said, all right, it's time. We went out and we formed 2 lines, everybody in our gold coats, and had the Packers introduced. The defense came out first as a group, and they ran by, got a few high fives, but the offense was individually announced. And all the players, every one of them, came by, and I got a high five from every one of them. I washed my hands since. I wasn't going to, but I've washed it since. And even Aaron Rodgers, I mean, everybody gave me a high five, and I was just going crazy. I was on the field. I got some video of it, and my nephew was filming it, and I just was so excited. And so she goes, all right. After they're introduced, we formed a line, and we listened to the national anthem out there. Then we went inside the tunnel, took our coats off, and hung our gold coats up. And I asked, now we probably can't go out the tunnel anymore to get to my seats. How do we get out of here? Well, there was an elevator about 50 feet away. She goes, get on the elevator, ride it to your floor or whatever. So, all right, I'm the first one in the elevator. A couple other people that were ambassadors were in there, and then here comes Roger Goodell. He's in there. I go, Roger Goodell, how are you doing? Welcome to Lambeau Field. I said, and happy Thanksgiving. Did you have a good meal? And he goes, yeah, I did. Thanks a lot. So I ride up to my floor, and it was just the start of the game. Obviously, we just had the national anthem. And I get out of the elevator. I thanked Roger again for being there, even though he's not the best commissioner in the world. But I thanked him for coming to Lambeau to see Brett Favre's number be retired. I get out of the elevator, and I'm walking down, and it is empty. One guy walking down the hallway, Santana Dotson. I go, Santana Dotson, how are you doing? He goes, I'm doing great. I'm at Lambeau, and he didn't remember me, but I was at the Favre Cancer Center when he was there, and he did the he shaved off his mustache and beard for raising awareness for prostate cancer, and I was there. And I mentioned that. He said he remembered me. He didn't, but that's fine. In my heart, he did. And so then I proceeded to go back to my seat and watch the game. The Bears won, but I got to be on the field with that at that moment. And friends of mine I talked to said, how do you really become an ambassador? I said, I don't know. So I called up the Packers and I said, how do you become an ambassador? She goes, well, a lot of them are people that own suites, and a lot of them are sponsors, like Bell and Health, or I don't know, some of the other ones, Kmart or whatever, but they're the managers or whatever the stores. And I thought, well, I guess I never would have got to be an ambassador if I didn't become a little bold. So I was very bold, got to be ambassador, didn't hurt anybody's feeling, made my life, I thought I had reached the pinnacle when I was ambassador for that game.